Success, it has been said, is not the absence of failure, but going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. My name is BJ Gramillion, and I am the host of the Rush to Fail podcast. This podcast was created to highlight and learn from others who have turned their failures into success in hopes that it will both inspire and encourage others to push through their trials and to not be afraid of short-term failure. Our mantra on this show is to fail often, fail forward, and rush to fail.
Welcome to the Rush to Fail podcast. I am your host, BJ Gramillion, and I have my favorite guest with us today, my favorite person on planet Earth, Alexis Gramillion, in case you were wondering. And you know what, I was talking recently about the past year with Alexis, and I was like, you know what, we need to there's two things I want to do here. Number one, I wanted to record a podcast about the last year really for our kids, because I think it'll be fun for them to look back on this time, because we were just talking about this before we got on here. And we're like, I don't think that our kids have any idea about the circus that has taken place over the last year, and they really won't appreciate it, and maybe they'll never appreciate it. Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. But I think that when they get older, they'll probably look back and be like, holy smokes, that was kind of a crazy time. And, you know, the second reason is, you know, just in case anyone out there is curious and wants to, you know, hear about our journey over the past year, then here you go. This is what we're here for. And so, Alexis, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is very official.
Excited and nervous to be here. I don't really know what to expect.
Oh, man. You know what I love more than anything
What?
is just being able to stare at you like the whole time. This is awesome. So I might get distracted a couple of times, and Alexis does that to me. But all right. She loves when I make those comments, by the way. So
awkward.
yeah, Alexis, what are your thoughts just when I ask you, how was 2023 and 2024? What are the words that come to your mind?
So when you brought it up, I was hesitant to do this because I don't want to come off as negative.
So negative would be the word, I guess, huh?
It's been a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like our life at this stage that's a pretty good word to describe just our day-to-day, no matter where we are and no matter what the circumstances. We are a traveling circus wherever we go. So.
Yeah. It's funny. So yeah, we just moved to Chattanooga. You know, we've been in our home now for a week?
Yeah.
So, and our neighbor, super sweet lady, really nice, typical Southerner, you know, they just want to talk and they want to come over and say hi and get to know everyone. And so it's funny because she was like, well, we want to drop off this gift, but, you know, you're probably not ready for us. You probably are nervous about your home, the way it looks. I'm like, we could care less. Honestly, if you are brave enough to step into our home, then by all means, go for it. But just know it's going to be a circus. There might be naked kids running around, and there's going to be stuff all over the floors, and it's going to be lots of tears and laughter.
We still are very much in boxes and construction, and anyways,
yes,
that's probably
it's everything. Yeah. So as a wife and mom, I'm sure that, and as a woman, you're probably like, holy smokes, this is embarrassing. But I feel like you've been,
I wasn't embarrassed because it just is what it is, but yeah. It's chaos. Really, anytime you show up at our house.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you said, chances are you're going to encounter something crazy, and you'll probably think that doesn't normally happen, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So just to recap, people probably know, but we have 5 kids. So 13, 12, 6, and then twin 3-year-olds. And so that's what I mean. When wherever we go, there's a good amount of noise and chaos, probably someone teasing someone and someone else screaming about the teasing. It's just the way
It's just the way it is. Yeah. It's funny. One of the memories that I have, and this was actually not on our move, to Tennessee, but so what we did is I started buying homes out here a couple years ago, or, really started like in 2021, 2022 picked up a little bit. And it was that year that we decided that it would be a good idea just to see how we all like it and just, get a good feel for it. We decided we would come out here for like 3 weeks in the summertime when kids were out of school. So
you were traveling.
Yes.
You were traveling to Chattanooga every couple weeks. And so we decided instead of having him go back and forth, we would bring the whole family out, and that would be like our vacation for the summer. And so that's why we did it.
Yeah.
In my mind, it wasn't to move. It was it wasn't to see if we could move there.
That's true. Yeah.
It was just a means to get things up and running well. And
so let me have a continuous amount of time. Yeah. Because it was always hard because I would start, stop. I'd get progress after a week of being here, and then I'd have to leave and then, come back a month later. And it was like hard to get things going. And so, yes, you're right. That was a big reason why we came out here. But I think the most vivid memory that I have of that year probably was the airport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like when we flew in.
Yes.
Even the twins turned 2 when we were in Chattanooga that summer. So they were pretty little.
Yeah.
And up until that point, I mean, because of COVID and having twins, like I really hadn't gotten out of the house a whole lot at all. So this was like a big undertaking for us. And we had double stroller. We had 2 car seats. I think did we have 3 car seats? Did we bring a car seat for Jet too?
Yeah. 3
car seats, all the luggage. And we're walking through the Atlanta airport, and BJ and I just like look at each other and we're like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah. That was that moment where it's like, holy cow, this is our lives. Cause I remember I felt like a mule, right? Like one of those pack mules. Like I picked up an absurd amount of luggage and car seats and everything. And I am just trucking it through the airport. And like Alexis is doing the same. And our kids are screaming. They're on the floor, whatever. Like they're having their kids and doing their thing. And so we're dragging them through the airport, and the Atlanta airport's already crazy as it is. And, we had a car rental and all that stuff. And just, I mean, when you come to Tennessee from Arizona, something that I did not fully appreciate or realize, because when you go by yourself, you just don't even really pay attention. It's not a big deal. But when you go with a family of 7, it is a much different experience than when you're flying by yourself. And it's just crazy the amount of energy and time just to do the most basic, simple things, like going to the bathroom. Like if one kid wants to go to the bathroom, that means they all got to go to the bathroom.
Well, and at that point, remember, Jet was scared of public bathrooms.
That's right.
So anytime we'd go in a public bathroom, he wouldn't go. First of all, he would not go in.
He's afraid of the magic toilets, the ones that flush by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, wasn't that when he held it for 12 hours or something, like some record? So he truly was able to hold it. He refused to go. Like he had to go so bad, but would not go because he was so paranoid. Which, funny story to that now, he wants me to watch videos with him every night now of toilets. He is very fascinated and has always appreciated a good toilet. And he likes to watch them when they get overflowed. And he's just fascinated by that, which we're like, okay, that's his thing.
Which, did you tell him you weren't doing that anymore? Because I heard about it 5 times today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he will remind us when I get home, I'm sure if he's still awake, that he needs to watch his video. So it's been a wild, crazy adventure. So, okay, fast forward. And I don't know if I've talked about this on another podcast before, or if it was, where we talked about it. But so then fast forward a year later, we obviously made the decision to move to Tennessee. A lot of people ask the question, and I know we have asked the question a lot of, well, why the heck did you guys move to Knoxville if you were working in Chattanooga? So do you want me to take that on, or do you want to take that on?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
what the
You want
answer
to hear my
is.
thoughts?
Yeah.
So you can
Why did we move to
correct me.
Knoxville?
Yeah. So yeah, when we were making the decision to move out here, it was hard because I know that working out here, you hear a lot of things and everyone was like, hey, you got to be careful about the school districts in Chattanooga. They're not great. And so the church we go to as well, we had gone there before and it was great experience, but we'd also gone to the Knoxville one and just felt better about that group that we go to church with. And so we were like, we feel good about that. We felt good about, everyone had told us the Knoxville schools were really good, especially in the Farragut area. And so we decided, okay, I am totally okay with commuting if it means that our kids are taken care of, because we're already going across country. I don't want to set them up with a bad school system and they're getting bullied or something and it's a miserable experience and they don't get along with kids. And so my biggest fear was, okay, it's already big enough of a move to do that, but I want to set them up for the best situation as possible that hopefully will be a good one. And then I'm okay. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I don't mind driving back and forth. And come to find out, like, that really does wear on you, by the way. An hour and a half each way does.
It wore on all of us. Like,
totally.
It was hard. But I think looking back, we looked for houses in Chattanooga. We looked at houses in Knoxville. We looked at the schools. When we would find a house, we'd look at what school it was in. We'd look at what congregation we'd be in at church. Like, we really did weigh all the options. And the buying a house at that point was not easy. Like, a lot of people were putting offers in. And so I just kind of feel like that the one we got, things worked out. And so we made it work, like that's kind of what worked out. And looking back on it, I have those questions because it's been so crazy with you commuting back and forth. And also with moving again, I don't like to make mistakes. You are okay with,
rush to fail.
Like, that's what you do. But I don't like to. I like to think things through and plan things and make sure that with how chaotic our life is, if there's a way that I can plan or whatever, I don't like to make mistakes. So I don't like the thought of thinking that we made a mistake in moving to Knoxville. I really do think that for some reason, and I don't know the reason, that was a stepping stone for us, that we had that got us to Tennessee. And I mean, as there were definitely hard things, but lots and lots of lessons learned and lots of, you're going to make me cry. Stop.
You're so pretty.
lots of blessings. Yeah. You need to talk for a second so I can.
Yeah. And it really is interesting though, too, to look back at that time, because both of us have thought this and said it multiple times, that our son Jet, so he is the middle child, and he's interesting nut to crack, man. He's a funny kid, the cutest, like sweetest boy you will ever meet, like just the kindest little heart, in the world. So, but he's been odd, like we don't really.
He's just quirky.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's in such a good way. Like, it's not a bad thing at all. Like, it just is different. And so we're all just kind of like, okay, like, what's your jam? Like, trying to figure out how to dance to his rhythm, and figure out what he likes. And it has been a challenge, like, and all of our kids have been, challenges in different ways. And so I think at that time we were kind of trying to figure him out, and still are, obviously. But it's so funny because, we came to Knoxville and I would ask them the question a lot just to see how they're doing. And I think it would bother you sometimes, but I'd be like, okay, what do you like more? Do you like Arizona or do you like Knoxville more? And without hesitation, every time you'd say Knoxville. Yeah, every time. And then when we got him in school,
which I was really worried about school. This was kindergarten for him, and I didn't know how he'd do. The only option was full day, which our other two kids did half day kindergarten. And so I was worried about that. I was worried he was going to not like it, and it would be a fight to get him to go every day.
Yeah.
And that was not the case. He loved school.
He loves Monday through Friday more than he loved the weekend. Like he really did. And he would be so bummed anytime they didn't have school, because every day he'd wake up just ready to go to school. He loved his teacher, and she was an angel, like we look back on that time, we're like, holy cow, there really are. It's just so cool to, as long as you kind of keep your eyes open to these things, these sweet little miracles, that take place in life. That was one of those tender mercies where it's like, I don't even know who this lady is. Like, we'd never met her, but she came into our life at the perfect time with Jet in his situation, and they just loved on him, embraced him, met him where he was at, and helped him to learn how, like now he's learning how to read and write, and he knows how to write his cute little name. And like, so these little milestones are just so cool for us to see. And so I think that we all have felt that was a year of Jet, like that was his year, that we needed to just focus on him and help him out.
Maybe we were in Knoxville for him, like just to get him, have him have that teacher and the resources that he needs for the future too. So.
Yeah. And then it's funny though, because then, we moved to Chattanooga, and it's so interesting because all of our kids, like once we finally were able to move into our home in Chattanooga, and it's funny. So we bought our home that we're living in right now as an investment. We were planning on flipping it, and, we bought it from this super sweet lady that, reached out to us. It was off market, and, she's kind of overwhelmed. It's kind of been run down, hadn't done a lot of repairs to it for a while. And, they hadn't been in the home for a long time. So they were like, yeah, we're ready to go, ready to sell it. And so
they had been in the home for a long time?
They hadn't been.
Oh,
they were
really?
living somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh.
And so, so she was it was vacant.
Oh.
So she was willing to sell it, and she gave us, great price on it. And so, we were going to just flip it. And then, Alexis came out several times to look at it. And I think when we would drive around the neighborhood, it was just that feeling of like, man, this feels like home. This feels like a really cool neighborhood.
Well, it's funny because I was helping with the floor plan a little bit and the design, some of the finishes. I was going to help with the kitchen cabinet. So I had been out there a couple times for that reason.
Yeah.
And I went out in December to measure. I had worked on a cabinet plan, and I went out to measure to make sure it was going to work. And as I think I was talking to a friend about the layout, and I was taking a video of the upstairs and explaining what we were going to do to it. And as I was like taking the video, I totally remember being like, oh my gosh, we could live here. Like I saw the 4 bedrooms upstairs and could see our kids just fitting in there. And it like freaked me out because I was like, I do not want to live here. And then as I kept going through the house, I just kept having that feeling like, oh my gosh, we could live here. Like we could do this. And then I got in the car and drove the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is so cute. And it was Christmas time. So there were like wreaths in the windows. The neighborhood's pretty old, right? Like there's some of I talked to a neighbor today that's
like
been there 35 years. And so every house has so much character, so cute, so unique. And so it was Christmas time. So there were wreaths in the windows and trees in the windows. And I don't know, I was like, oh my gosh, we could do this. And the whole drive home, which is an hour and a half, I was like freaking out because I was like, but I was excited, but I was like, we're crazy. Like we just bought this house. We were like in the middle of doing stuff to it. So
yeah. And it's funny because she's like, what do you think? Like, should we live here? And I was not about to be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's move. I'm like, no. I'm not falling for that. And I think that if I did in any way, shape, or form, like push her to do that, she probably would have been like, no, we're not doing this. Yeah, you're right. We're crazy. No, we're not. And so I just kind of let her drive that conversation because I felt like I had done enough to Alexis over that last 6 months.
I could tell that you were excited.
Yeah.
I think that pretty quickly we were able, like logically, it made so much more sense to be there. Like financially, it made so much more sense. The drive made so much more sense. All those things, like it made sense. But we had been in Knoxville for 6 months, and we were just starting to like figure out our rhythm, and we were just starting to make friends, and we were doing pretty good. So that was hard to think about leaving that. And then the kids, like I was literally heartbroken for our kids, especially our older two. Like I just kept thinking we can't do this to them.
No.
We can't do this to them again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hard.
It was so hard. Yeah. And in fact, we didn't tell our kids, especially the two older kids, we didn't tell them, for months, like 3 or 4 months. And we had been working on it, pretty, like at that point we knew we were going to move. And so we treated it like it was going to be our home. And so then of course we flipped into, okay, let's go ahead and throw that budget out the window, go ahead and double it. Now we're talking, so we went all in on that one. And funny enough, though, I mean, we still got this awesome house and somehow we're saving money because that's how a girl brain works, right? So
I was like, wait, we're saving money?
You're right. We totally did. Yeah, we saved it. Tell me how. I don't know. But that was fun. We got through it and, at least we got the interior of the home. Yeah, maybe that's too fresh right now. Yeah. But we're having a good old time with our Amazon and Home Depot accounts.
Moving on.
Okay, moving on. So we have a really, really cool house now. Like we for real love. I mean, it's
going to be awesome.
Awesome. What? It's going to be awesome.
It's not done yet.
Okay. That's true. We still have, I just was like, wait, were there more projects I'm missing out on?
Well,
the exterior of the home does need projects.
Yeah.
So we're almost done with the interior of the home. And I feel like we've been saying that now for like a month, but countertops going tomorrow. So that really is a big deal because then we can actually unpack our kitchen and our bathroom. So that's going to be fun. And we'll have a shower, our master.
Showering in the kids' showers, which are great.
Yeah, our kids' showers. We tried out all the showers in the house, which is cool. But yeah, so, going back to, I guess, like the original thing that I was saying about Jet was, when I would ask him the question of, do you like Arizona or Knoxville more? And he would always say Knoxville. And so now, after a couple of days of moving into the home and now we've been in there for a week, I'll ask him the question every night, when we're going to bed. I'll say, Jet, do you like Knoxville more or Chattanooga more? Because he doesn't know how to say Chattanooga. So he always says Chattanooga. And every time he's like, oh, Chattanooga. And then, the other night he was like, Knoxville. And I was like, really? He's like, wait, sorry. No, Chattanooga. Yes, Chattanooga, Dad. So, and all of them have said the same thing. And our older kids have been super amazing about it and just willing to roll with. I don't know. I think that I've noticed, with our kids, especially the older ones, and the thing that I love watching them do is like now James and Lila, they're close in age, obviously, but now, they don't have a lot of friends yet, obviously, especially in Chattanooga. We just moved here. And so we're hoping to get to know a lot of friends. And we have actually some friends from Arizona that now work with us, which is amazing. Game changer for sure. We're super excited to have them, but they also have a similar age daughter. And so we're and son, that's right. So we're excited for them to be able to hang out with our kids. So they have some friends together because, they just moved out here. Friend. And Alexis has a bestie now, which she has desperately wanted. So it's fun to see. And I mean, the funny thing with them too, and this is just, I guess, the whole point of the podcast and just thinking through just this last year, there are so many cool tender mercies that, I mean, the fact that, this family from Arizona, we've known them for a long time. I mean, their family and stuff.
They're not they haven't been like super close friends. We've had like friends of friends and I worked with her a little bit at, girls camp or whatever. Yeah. But not like, we really don't know them super well. Mm-mm. Like we knew them by association, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and I knew he was a super cool guy, nice guy. But again, I too was like, I've seen him around 3 or 4 times, but that was it. And then he reached out to me. I think he texted me or right? In February and was like, hey, this is super random, but
can I go back?
Yeah.
So I told you about December thinking we'd move. I was freaking out on the way home. Saturday, I feel like, so that was on a Friday that happened. Saturday, I had like, for real, a mental breakdown. Like it was like too much for me to handle. Like I couldn't even think about moving out there. I was so conflicted just with everything. Sunday, we went to church. I was praying super hard, trying to get some confirmation, some answers, something to just know that this was the right thing. Sorry, I'm going to pull it together. Monday. Yeah. So I think by Sunday, I was feeling a little better about it. Like I was like, okay, we can do this, whatever. Monday, I can picture where I was driving around in the car. Hold on. I got up. Yeah. Driving around the car, kind of started freaking out again. And sorry. I can't talk when I cry. Some people can talk when they cry. I can't.
You're right. You can't. But you can when you run, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I can't do
maybe. But just had the thought that, like, just the Spirit telling me, like, I got you.
So cool.
Anyways, and I just, ever since that moment, I've just known, like, it's going to be okay. Like, He knows us. He has a plan for us, and I'm just going to trust that. So then a couple months later, when this family decided to move out here, I just felt like that was like total, it just put all my faith back in God's plan for us, and that He does have us, and that's putting a lot of pressure maybe on them.
Yeah, right.
But
you guys have to be our friends.
Yeah, but even not that, just trusting, even though the path is windy and we never know which way it's going to go. Just having that faith and being so worried about the kids, that gave me the encouragement and I don't know, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like the
reassurance.
Yeah. He knows and loves them too, and wants, I just felt so confident, and I felt so confident in telling our kids that, that this was the right thing for our family, and I really, up until that point, I hadn't had that confirmation. I was really doing a lot of taking leaps of faith. I was really trying to just do what made sense and what was practical. And I don't know, we were trying. But at that point, ever since that moment, I've felt so good about this house and this move. And as crazy and as hard as it is, I know this is where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. It honestly does feel like home. Knoxville never felt like home to me. And obviously I was kind of visiting.
Because it wasn't your home. This is what I always tell him. You slept in Knoxville. You did not live in Knoxville.
I totally did.
We lived in Knoxville, and I slept around. Oh my gosh. Don't do that.
Don't clip that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm in
edit.
No, I really did just sleep there. And then I would, turn around and come back here. And so now it just feels like.
And for the record, home. The kids and I did love living in Knoxville.
Yeah.
There was so much to love about living in Knoxville.
Knoxville is crazy beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Our walks were just unreal, and we'd have to pinch ourselves every time. I cannot believe we live here.
I just be driving
all the time.
Or Jets baseball games, the most incredible views of water and trees and trains that would go by, which is a big deal for us.
Yes.
Our little boys love trains.
Our kids love trains. Yeah. We go to the train tracks on Sundays and walk up and down them and put pennies on them and, do all that fun stuff. And so, we have amazing memories. Although Chattanooga, speaking of trains, is known for trains. So in fact, we're right next to Choo Choo Station, which is a really cool hotel. And you can even sleep in one of the cars, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So they have it all decked out. But Chattanooga has a ton of trains around here. But that's so interesting too, because I think that people, how does God talk to you? That's a question I remember growing up. I would always be like, man, why don't I ever hear a voice of confirmation? Or why don't I ever get this miraculous sign? Why can't I ever be like so-and-so? And, they say that they get answers to their prayers, but I don't really feel like I ever have a confirmation, a definitive, yes, no, do this, do that. for me, it's always just been like, hey, you got to be in drive for him to be able to steer. And so just start moving and, go the direction you think you're supposed to be going, like make a decision, commit to it, move forward, but then also just be malleable, like be willing to let him take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. And she's on something. But yeah, you have to let him take the wheel. You have to let him have control. So that, because I feel like where people do get in trouble is when they get really rigid, like, no, like we got to see this through. We moved to Knoxville. Like that would be so stupid for us to move this quickly and just to throw in the towel, not to mention the cost of moving and the craziness and the chaos and the amount of stress. And trust me, it's the worst thing ever. That is the most stressful time ever, is moving. I hate moving more than, well, probably not more than you, but yeah, it's the worst. But I just feel like we've been fortunate and lucky that the way that we work together, I think, is so cool, because like I'm okay kind of pushing, us into gear, towards a direction. And then like, thankfully somehow, and I don't know, this is how I see it, and I would love to hear your opinion on it, but I feel like you're good about quietly kind of like doing your thing, like praying, thinking it through. And you're also very good about telling me no, or, this is stupid or whatever. So I never worry that you're like not going to voice your opinion. That's never been an issue.
You're pretty much always going to know how I feel about something.
Yes, which I love, because I would much rather know what you're thinking than have to guess or whatever. So you never left me guess, which is great. But I feel like you've always been good about doing what you just said, where you're like, without me really knowing it, you pray a lot and you try and figure out what is right for you. And then you look for those confirmation and signs or whatever. Is that kind of how you see it? Okay. I
think so.
I got something right? There's no correction there?
No, I think that's right.
Oh, man, this is good. Okay. I'm on a roll. This is a big deal. Yeah. So that is why we went from Knoxville. Because I'm sure people are like, wait a minute, you guys just moved. And everyone in our ward, at church and stuff, they're like, wait a minute, like you guys just started getting in the groove and everything. And now
so
you're
many people
moving?
are like, wait, he's been working in Chattanooga this whole time.
Yeah, I think that was actually a lot of the question was like, oh, I had no idea you were doing that every day. You were going to Chattanooga.
By the way, I think when we moved to Knoxville, it was such a smaller commute. An hour and a half was a way smaller commute than a day of travel across the country.
Right.
I think we also thought there was a possibility of you expanding to Knoxville. Yeah. I think we also thought that there was a chance that you would work from home a little bit more. But then once we got out here, there was no working from home.
Yeah.
There was no expanding to Knoxville. Like it just was very evident that Chattanooga was where. And I think that was a question I asked you when we were deciding to move was, do you see any expansion to Knoxville? Like, do you see that as a possibility? And you were like, at this point, no.
Yeah.
I think, we're all in Chattanooga. So.
Yeah. So it's been a roller coaster. That was a really good word to use. And I think that's the word that I use, quite a bit. But what I love now is, it's a totally different world. The South or the East Coast is very different in a lot of ways from what we're used to, especially the roads. That is not something we love. We miss having those straight roads. But then
straight, wide roads.
Yes, with sidewalks.
No
sidewalks
or bike paths.
Yes. Yeah. But in exchange for that, I feel like in Arizona, to get those roads, you have to have, these cookie cutter track neighborhoods that are thousands of homes that all look identical stucco homes. And it's like, once you see one, you've seen them all. And it's really unfortunate. There's no character or anything. Whereas here, it's the opposite. It's horrible roads, but then you've got just everyone has built a different home. They all have a cool story behind them. They're all done differently. It's like every home that I walk into that we purchase, I have no clue what I'm walking into. Like in Arizona, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen this floor plan 8,000 times. So we already know what to do here. This is what the cost is. It was very easy to appraise a home because there was no variation or difference. And so anyways, it's very different out here. But the other thing that I love is like the 4 seasons, but maybe tell us a little about the snow.
Yeah. So I had heard about snow that like it'll snow a couple of times a year.
This is how I sold her on coming here, by the way.
Yeah, because
It never
for the
snows.
record, I don't do cold weather. I don't do snow. I don't like to drive
She is pure
in it.
Arizona.
I don't like to have to wear lots of layers. I don't like to walk in icy where I'm gonna slip. I don't do snow. So, but yeah, I had heard that it snows a couple times a year, and I feel like I can handle that. So it was very exciting. We heard this week it was going to snow, and it was, January, it was Martin Luther King Day. So the kids didn't have school Monday anyways, and it snowed on that Monday, and it was so fun. Like that first day, it just dumped. Like there was a ton of snow, and the kids were out playing in it, sledding all day. We all were. You even came home that day because it was coming down so hard that you came home and played in it.
Yeah.
And then the next day it snowed again, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it?
It did.
And so that was, the next day was fun too. Hot chocolate. We got the syrups out and did snow cones with the snow. Like we were having a good time the first 2 days. You went to work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you stayed the night that night because you were worried about coming back.
Uh-huh.
So by the third day, I was like, okay, I'm over this. Oh, and by the way, so Monday they didn't have school. Tuesday they canceled school. Then they canceled school for Wednesday, Thursday. Then they canceled it for, I can't even remember, but they just kept canceling school.
Yeah.
The roads were icy. My birthday was that weekend, which if you don't know, my birthday's a really big deal.
Very big deal. Yeah, it's not a birthday, it's a birth week.
Which it was actually a birthday this time.
Yeah, that's not a good one then.
No, it was good. No, but it was just I don't know. I was having flashbacks to COVID.
Yeah.
Our school just kept getting canceled. Kids were just home. It was fun the first day or two, then it wasn't that fun anymore because everyone was just home and in and out, wet, cold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then it was Groundhog's Day. And then it was like we learned very quickly, okay, in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Everything shuts down.
Any reason to cancel school.
Oh, yeah.
They will cancel school.
That's right.
And it's funny because like before the snow days happened, there were a couple different days where one time they said that there might be wind.
Oh, yeah. They canceled school because of wind.
They canceled it because potential wind.
Yeah.
Which, of course, never came. But I was like, man, growing up in Colorado, shoot, that would have been awesome because that was like every day, where we would get snow and wind and all that stuff. But yeah, so they had already so many different times. They're like, because they have, I think, 10 days that they have to work with weather days. Yeah. And so they were just you could tell they were milking it. Which was so new
for me. Like I've never, it's crazy. Arizona schools never canceled, ever.
Yeah, well, for good reason too.
Yeah.
There's no reason
to,
but yeah, so then they ended up eating into their snow. It was like COVID. That was the best way to put it because we were like, we are going
how many
through
days
COVID.
it ended up being. But
it was like 2 weeks. It was like just under 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they started having them go back, but they would have it be like a half day because they were worried about the buses on the roads early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that wasn't my favorite. It was
wild. Yeah. So winters, we realized, it was a little bit more extreme, but apparently that's like the
worst
biggest
snow in like 30 years
that they've ever had.
It's not usually that intense.
So yeah, we were there for that. We also have been here for how many tornadoes? 1 or 2 that we've been around for? Yeah. So yeah, we were around for the first week we were here. There was a tornado that was like 5 miles up the road from us.
Which we didn't even know.
No idea. Kids are playing outside.
Okay, so it's windy a little bit and it starts raining. And we had an awesome backyard in our Knoxville house. And so I was like, guys, go jump on the tramp in the rain. And then the power went out. I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe stay in. I don't know.
Yeah. And then come to find out the next day there was a tornado. I didn't even know.
Yeah. We had people in our church being like, check in on everyone, like make sure they're okay. And we're like, why?
Yeah.
What happened? And then it turns out it was a smaller tornado, but yes, there was a tornado. Then we had our kids almost got eaten by a snake.
Oh, come on.
No, we didn't. But it was legit, like, I don't know, 6 foot long snake. I don't know.
In our
something
backyard.
like that. In our backyard. First week we were there.
One of our twins, our little 3-year-old boy came in and was like, there's a snake. We were like, okay. Cause
they say crap all the time.
They say, yeah. And then our 12-year-old came in and was like, no, there's actually a big black snake out there.
It was huge. And I don't know. I don't do snakes. I don't really know much about them. And then, of course, it's that whole, like, you tell people and they're like, oh, it's just a rat snake. They're not, I'm like, it's a huge black snake that our kids were literally like walking right next to him. And I'm surprised, honestly, none of them just picked it up, because like they totally would do that. That's something like Elsie would do. Just like, oh, cool, it's a snake, just play with it like a little.
Let's hope that they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, seriously. So it's been an adventure. We've been, like kind of all over the place. And so it's funny because we moved into this house and we're going through the same thing of what we did when we remodeled our home in Knoxville, where, you don't have a kitchen sometimes, or you're bathing in your kids' bathrooms and stuff. We haven't had our master bathroom the entire time we've been living in this home. And so
just the dust everywhere. And boxes that can't be unboxed because
you just feel like the walls start to like cave in more and more. And so
this week I'm like, why do we do this to ourselves? Like we moved in about a week too soon, I think.
Yeah. But we are super grateful that our house sold and it worked out flawlessly. Yeah. We are incredibly grateful to have that out. And so but you know what, I think what I've taken from this past year has been, and I know there's some quotes out there, I'm sure, that say it much better than I do, but it's life doesn't necessarily get easier, or it's that you are able to, like, I think that as you strengthen that muscle in your brain, as you strengthen you go through these, every day is this uphill battle, and you're constantly trying to, I guess I can speak for myself, and it's different than your day to day, but like in business, there are so many challenges thrown at you constantly, one after another.
Yeah, I don't have any challenges thrown at me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And so, you get all these curveballs thrown at you, and you're constantly problem solving and figuring things out. And so you get to a point where you've just, that's like normal, and that's just it. You get to a point where I just think you're a lot more resilient and you have a lot more grit. Like you have a lot more ability to deal with things. Whereas if all of this stuff was thrown at us when we were very first married, it would have sunk us. Like, I don't know if we could have made it through that, but it's cool to see like how much we can take on. And it's cool that you can do hard things. Like we can do hard things, together. And it's been super cool. Like, my relationship with you, I feel like has gotten, every year it just gets better and better, because I think that the love I have for you is growing so much more, just because of I guess, like when you're in the trenches together, you get really close with someone, like we were already obviously super close, but it's like, man, going through that and being able to like be in the place that we're at right now, I just feel like it's cool that we've been able to do it together, like as a partnership. And it really is cool because your strengths are so different than mine. And it's been amazing. Like we constantly talk about like, man, like I know that we have these traditional roles, and I think society a lot of times has tried really hard to knock those down, and it's attacking the family. It's attacking like morals and values and stuff, and making them appear like they don't matter, and make it sound like the family doesn't matter, and that traditional roles, that it's, girl power, like you shouldn't be at the home, you should be in the workplace, we should be equals, we should be doing, and it completely misses the point. Like we clearly are built differently for different reasons. And when you lean into that and combine the strengths together, like I just feel like that is the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it was designed by our creator.
Yeah. And
it's been so cool, especially in this past, really since COVID, I would say,
right.
When we had the twins and went through COVID and all the things that have happened in the past 3 or 4 years has really solidified for me the importance of actually like leaning into just kind of like our strengths and our roles and what we're good at. And I love that you love being a stay-at-home mom, even though it is the hardest job on the planet. But you are, and here's the thing, people don't realize this about Alexis yet. And I think that there are her friends and family and stuff like that know her well, that already know this, and they know it. But she is incredibly talented when it comes to design, when it comes to like cabinet design. She's going to be humble because she's going to try and downplay this. I can already feel it. You're going to do that. But she really, truly does have this eye and this incredible ability that I don't have. Like I'll be told, like, I do this every day, but I don't have that. Like, but I can see it in her. And she hasn't been able to really fully lean into that yet, because she's been willing to sacrifice her time and talents and everything to go towards our kids. So hopefully one day when they watch this, kids, like, you're going to appreciate what your mom just did. So I'm going to get through this, but I am so excited though that they're going to be able to also see the side of you where you're going to be able to like lean into and start doing your designing and those kind of things. And that's really our hope and goal with being in Chattanooga.
A couple days ago, I was out. I was ready to be done. So
yeah. Well, honestly, that's how I feel on a weekly basis in business. You get the crap beat out of you and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then you wake up and then you do it all over again and you just keep fighting, to figure it out. But I don't know. I think that's I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
That was a very long rant, by the way. I don't really go on these long epiphanies or whatever for that long, but I just feel pretty strongly about all of that. That's kind of like how I've felt this past year. But
yeah, I think that you're good at, appreciating and seeing the good in everything. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Cause I don't think on the surface, maybe I've had my doubts about being a stay-at-home mom, that whether it's because it's so hard and, I don't know, whether it's fulfilling the need the way it should be or whatever. But every time I contemplate switching things up, and you've been open to that, but it always goes back to that's, I think, where I'm supposed to be, and that I don't want anybody else doing it. But yeah, it's not easy. It's tough, but I think hopefully in the end it'll be worth it. We'll see.
No.
I'm hoping that with this move to Chattanooga that I can, and with my kids getting a little bit older, our twins will be 4 this summer. So maybe that frees up a little bit of capacity for some, to exercise those design muscles a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. See what
I really do think it will.
The future holds.
I'm really excited. And we've kind of hit this groove now where we're starting to buy, quite a few homes on a consistent basis. And we've kind of hit the stride there. So now it's like, yeah, we need that we need that person with that ability and skill, for future projects and stuff. So anyways, super excited.
We'll see. We'll see if I can stick to the budgets and all that stuff.
That's going to be the hard part. Yeah. We're going to have to do some expensive flips, and it's so cool. We have a project manager now too, that I love. She's amazing. And so it's just fun because I watch her to get super excited about like being able to like take these ugly homes and turn them into these, really cool homes. And so she's, starting to get the bug and go through that as well. So it's going to be fun to watch, them work together and complement each other. And so, yeah, it's been fun just to see now finally, like, starting a new business is so hard. And it's something that I honestly wasn't looking forward to, really, like having to start from scratch, because I understood and I had already done it before. I know what goes into it, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of sacrifice on your part, on the kids' part, and everyone, because let's not kid ourselves. Like, it takes a lot of work on my end, and I have to be away from the family and stuff when I'm doing that. So, but yeah, we're grateful to be in a good spot right now, and just grateful for what's transpired over the last.
I feel like we've been building to this point for a long time. So hopefully we're at a good spot where we can not be grinding so hard that maybe we can.
Maybe we'll take a vacation. We just talked about this. We're like, yeah, I think we might actually talk about scheduling a vacation because we could really use one. So
one of my really good friends who you had on the podcast, Christy Davis, her mom, I don't know her. You know her. Have you met Lenoy's wife?
I know her dad really well, but I don't know her mom.
So she says all the time, life just keeps getting better and better. Mm-hmm. And I think about that all the time. And I think I want to live that way. Like even when it's hard, even when it's crazy, and it's been hard and it's been crazy and it's been unknown and it's been all those things. But I love that thought of life just keeps getting better and better. And yeah, that's how I hope our kids see that. I hope they feel that too. Cause yeah, I think it will. I think it'll just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, I agree. This has been fun. Dare I say my favorite podcast so far, but I can be biased. But hopefully that fills you guys in on where we're at. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. I really was in quarter one. I made a commitment to do one every single week, and I was pretty good about it. And then quarter two, I did not set that goal because I knew full well I wouldn't hit it because I knew the storm that was about to hit as far as like moving and the chaos that comes with that. So now that we're, kind of moved in and getting to that point, I do want to lean back into, doing more of the podcast and sticking to that once a week schedule. So I apologize for, if anyone, is waiting for an episode to drop, not saying that there is necessarily anyone out there, but if you are,
I bet your mom.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Here you go, Mom. Yeah. I got a big fan base, guys. So yeah, no, I love doing the podcast though, for so many different reasons. Like a lot of times it's an excuse obviously to get to talk to amazing people. And I love that, but it's also really, I think, for being able to share this with our family, and hopefully one day, maybe our kids will listen to a couple of them and learn something and
or journaling maybe.
Exactly. Yes. I'm not great at journaling either. So this is another reason why I do this. But yeah, hope you guys all got something from the podcast, enjoyed. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. And we will hopefully, and I can't commit yet because it's not yet quarter three, but by quarter three, we'll be back to doing once a week. So, all right. Thanks. That's a wrap.
I want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to this podcast. It's the best part of my week. I love learning from others' failures, and let's be honest, failures are way more enjoyable when you're not the one experiencing them in the moment. If you or someone you know has a story or experience to share, we would love to have you on the show. And please do not forget to like and share this podcast with anyone you feel would get value from the experiences shared on this show. Until the next show, remember to fail fast and fail often. Thanks for listening to the Rush to Fail podcast.